Hi everybody, welcome. It's Mandy. If you're new around here, I have been a part-time reseller for about 5 years and just started reselling full-time for a couple months. And I wanted to share with you my 7 top tips on getting daily sales on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari. And my first tip is to have a schedule. Obviously, you know, things come up in life and you might not be able to always stay true to that, but it is a good idea to have an idea of what you are going to be doing. So I have a pretty set schedule that, as far as listing goes, when I have time, I do it in bulk. So I will list in my drafts like anywhere from 10 to 40 items at one time, and I will make them go live through the week when I need them to. So that way that gives me some extra time and some leeway during the week. If things do come up, I have those listings ready to go. I also have a pretty set schedule on when I do my thrifting. Goodwill's in my town on Sundays. That's when the color changes to the new 50% off, and then the color of the week before, those are now going to be $1.99, or their boutique section is going to be $3.99. So I know Sunday mornings, that's probably where I'm going to be. There's another thrift store that on Mondays, they have 80% off a certain color, so that's probably where I'm going to be as well. And then throughout the week, I like to just kind of pop in and out of Goodwill's and look at the new racks that are coming out. Having some sort of a schedule, it helps me so that I don't over thrift, and it also helps me to make sure that I do have inventory here to list, so I don't run into a situation where I don't have any new items. The second tip is, you know, kind of an obvious one. Make sure you have good pictures, descriptions, keywords. I'll show up maybe like here, an example of maybe not the greatest photo of something. Personally, I don't know that I would buy something if it's just crumpled up on somebody's carpet. That does not look appealing to me at all. I don't have a huge setup. It's literally an old clothes rack that I have like a cloth backdrop that is pinned to it, so that goes from almost my ceiling to my floor. And then my ring light, I think, was like $60 on Amazon. My backdrop is then movable since it is on a clothes rack, so I can kind of move it in and out of my way. And then my backdrop kind of behind me here, this is just literally 2 poster boards from Walmart, and then I put laminate, like the stuff you'd put in a cupboard to kind of protect your cupboards, so then that way I can wipe this off if I need to, and then just smaller lights right there. So it doesn't have to be anything super, you know, expensive and extravagant, just as long as you get clean pictures, you know, the lighting is decent. I do put measurements in mine. I take actual photos of the measurements. It takes less time than while I'm listing, and all the information is right there. They see, you know, where I'm measuring. As far as descriptions and keywords go, I would suggest looking at other solds of the item that you are currently listing. Look at that sold listing and see what kind of keywords and descriptive words that they're using, because their item has already sold. So that way you can kind of, you know, take a peek and put some of that in your listing, and then hopefully that will help that item sell. My third tip is to be consistent. I think with every platform, consistency is key. That if you post, you know, 20 items one day and then you don't post anything for 2 weeks, it's kind of telling that platform's algorithm, hey, they just, you know, they aren't posting daily, they aren't sending offers daily, so we maybe aren't going to be pushing people towards their closet because it's not very active. I try and list probably anywhere from 5 to 10 new items a day, and then I do relist old inventory like 10 to 20 a day. So that's, you know, pushing out potentially 30 new items to my platforms each day. My fourth tip is to see what is trending. I do look at blogs on the internet, I look at YouTube, I look at TikTok, I look at Instagram. It's a good idea to kind of have an idea of what is currently quote unquote cool and in style and what the younger generation is looking for. That generation is not the only people that are shopping online, but I think they are a large chunk of it. So I would also, you know, suggest if you are doing just clothing and shoes to also keep in mind more mature styles, see what is currently trending there. And my tip number 5 goes along with the last one, is to make sure that you're buying things that people want to buy and that they're looking to buy. Like anybody could go to the thrift store and pick up an Old Navy t-shirt, and I don't know how many people are, searching in eBay or Poshmark Old Navy t-shirt. And if they are, there's probably millions of those currently listed, and what you're going to make on that shirt is not going to be very much. So you want to make sure that you're looking for quality items that, have a higher cost, that people are truly looking for. Like right now would probably be, Ugg boots, Merrell boots, bigger Columbia jackets, snowboarding stuff, because we are going to be going into winter here pretty soon. I always try to be a little bit ahead of the game. I will post things that are, winter in the summer if I have them, but I definitely want to ramp that kind of up before the season starts. So I've been posting boots and jackets now for at least 2 months in anticipation for the cold that is coming. And then starting probably early December, I'm going to start doing swimsuits, shorter dresses, shorts, because people are going to start going on vacations and you can't always buy a swimsuit at the store. So they're going to look online. And then the same goes probably March, maybe a little bit sooner. That's when more of my summer stuff's going to start getting posted, because you always want to be ahead of the game, because that's what people are looking for. My 6th tip is to make sure you have competitive pricing. I always try and go back and look at some of my older listings and see, first of all, do I have any errors, spelling errors? Maybe the pictures are bad, and see why they're not selling. But most of the time it's because of the price. I do make my prices a little bit higher, and then I do send out, offers, but sometimes I think my prices are just way too high, and that's kind of scaring people off, and they don't even want to save the item or like the item or anything, because they're going to find it somewhere cheaper. And that also goes for, things you've had for a while. I'm sure if you've been reselling for quite a while, brands come and go. Probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, just as an example, Miss Me jeans, you could sell those for, $50, $60. Now I think you're lucky to maybe get 20. So you have to kind of always look back at what you have if you do have older inventory, and adjust those prices, or decide if you even want to keep it anymore, and just kind of keep things moving. So along with that, it's just looking up the comps, see what they are currently selling for, adjust prices if needed. And another one that I do see on quite a few Poshmark Facebook groups is, my best advice when it comes to pricing is just to keep your emotions out of it. This is a business for most people, and if somebody wants to offer me like $10 on a $100 item, I'm not going to make a huge deal about it. Either decline it or send them a counter offer and move on. They're like, I have way more things in my life to worry about than that. So along with those lines, if you've had an item forever and maybe you do have it overpriced and you do get an offer, take the offer. I've said it before, I'm in the business of selling and not storage. If every single offer that I thought was like, I don't want to take it, I could probably get $5 more, my house would be filled with items, and that's not what I want. I'd rather take the money and buy something better, more substantial, that can flip faster and for more money. And then tip number 7 is to diversify where you sell. So if you're only currently selling on Poshmark or maybe just Mercari, think about eBay. There's millions of videos out there on how to sell on eBay. It is intimidating at first. I've made many mistakes on eBay when it comes to shipping and additional fees that I was not aware of on listings. It's all part of the learning curve. I mean, ultimately, the worst that's going to happen is you might lose some money. It's not like, the world's going to end. So it's all something that's going to teach you a lesson, and then that way you're not going to forget it. And eBay does have a bigger audience. I've talked about Depop before. I do have some listings there. I think that is the hardest platform to sell on, because it is very niche group of people that are looking for certain items. You're not going to be able to just put anything up and maybe somebody will buy it. That clientele is looking for, 90s, Y2K, vintage, pretty much that is what they're looking for. I also do sell on ThredUp, I'm still selling, and the Real, and I also do Play-Dohs at least once a week. I make sure to have multiple streams of income, because at any time, one of those could go away. That happened with ThredUp, kind of in the middle of 2020, when they just decided that they were going to change everything, and all the boxes were completely back ordered when you were sending them in. So if that would have been my only form of income, that wouldn't have been good. So I want to make sure that, you know, if something were to happen and they shut down my eBay store, that's okay. I still have my Poshmark, I still have Mercari, I still have Depop, I still have the Real ThredUp, and I go to Plato's. And that's also going to help with getting multiple sales a day. You know, there are days where I don't have sales on eBay or Mercari, but Poshmark currently, I think I do at least get one sale every day, usually multiples, and that's because I think I put the most effort into Poshmark, just because that's the easiest one for me to list on, and I'm on it more frequently. So these were my 7 tips. If you have any other additional tips that maybe would help someone out, please leave them in the comments below so others can read it. We can all learn more information. You know, I think reselling is a great way to make either extra income, or if you want to do it full time, it is possible. But, you know, you just have to make sure that you're putting in the effort and that you're learning each individual platform and figuring out, you know, how you're going to benefit from it. Because I'm sure we all know reselling is not just going to the store, buying something and listing it and somebody buys it. I mean, if it was that easy, everyone would do it and we'd all be millionaires. And that's just not how it is. There's a lot of background information and knowledge that you need to have to make sure that you're making good purchases. So with that said, if you're new, I do make informational videos from time to time. Otherwise, I do thrift with me's, unboxings, what sold videos. And if all of that sounds interesting, please make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thanks for hanging out.